You are knowing what you are wanting, interested in taking thought beyond that which it has been before.
Yes.
Is there any real thrill in that for you, really? We're just asking. We notice that sometimes it seems that you're trying to get to this perfect place, and then you want to try to hold there. And that sort of goes cross-current with your non-physical intentions, because from your non-physical perspective, this leading edge place really is where you want to be. The idea of having the expanded awareness, which gives birth to the expanded preference or desire, which gives birth to the expanded experience or manifestation, it really is who we all are. There is not one of you who, from your non-physical perspective, said, I would like to go forth into the physical environment, and I would like to choose a perfect place where all I will have to do is observe perfection and then regurgitate it. And yet, from your physical format, we hear you from time to time asking for that. And we think the reason that sometimes a more perfect place is appealing to you is because somehow, without meaning to, you have managed to accomplish too much vibrational spread between your current stack of desires and your current vibrational habit or pattern of thought. You get what we mean by that? In other words, the balance of vibration is what deliberate creation really is about. So when something happens in your experience that makes you give birth to a desire, that desire is answered every single time. No exceptions. You say it in your physical terms when you say, ask and it is given. You say it in your physical terms when you say, I am the creator of my own experience. You say it in your physical terms when you understand that that which is likened to itself is drawn. In other words, when you give birth to a preference, whether you speak it with your words or whether you just feel it with your being, or even if you don't consciously acknowledge it, every preference is answered every single time for everyone. And that means that if everyone is being answered, and what each is individually asking for, which is always what that individual perspective deems the best for itself, can you understand what a magnificently perfect world this is? Think about it. Imagine a small world with 1,000 people, and you are diverse in your interests and in your skills and abilities, which makes you a lovely community. You don't all want to do the same thing. You want to do different things, and you want to play off of one another. So as you are having your experience with one another, from your personal perspective, preferences are born along with the other 999. In other words, you're not the only one who is giving birth to preference. And as you give birth to your preference, consciously or unconsciously, and Source hears the preference and answers it, then everyone in this community is being answered efficiently and effectively, specifically and directly in response to what they are asking for. So there's no competition between the 1,000 because you all have access to this infinite stream of well-being and answers. Infinite intelligence is available to each of you. So you don't feel competition with one another because each of you understands whatever I want or need is given to me. And then you begin to feel appreciation to the other 999 because as you play with them, you get clearer and clearer about what you want. Some of them achieve things which helps you to know you would like to. Some of them live without things which helps you know you don't want to live without those things. Some of them are different enough from you that when you play with them, new ideas that are unique because of the combination of your playing together are born. And you realize that if it were not for your interacting with this other one, that this idea would not be born within you at all. So in this community that we are describing of 1,000 creators, while you are different and asking for different things, each is answered every single time. And while your creative community is much larger than 1,000, while it is even much larger than your community or your country or your world, while it expands to the boundaryless universe, while there are no limits to your ability to co-create with other vibrational offerers, you have come forth into this environment that has a platform in which you can conclude personal preference. And we want so much for you to begin enjoying that platform. And we would like it if you could come round to feeling like one of these 1,000 that we just described, who understands that there is no competition, that the resources are unlimited, and that whatever you want is given to you. And we believe that in that knowledge, and really only in that knowledge, will you ever begin to relax and then begin to apply what this gathering is all about, which is the art of allowing. The art of finally, once and for all, accepting your blessedness, accepting your worthiness, accepting that you are good enough, wise enough, smart enough, right enough, that it's time for you to start letting in the well-being that you so much deserve. Many of you have spent much of your life training yourself to believe otherwise. And we know that we cannot offer a few words that says, you are worthy, or you are blessed, and automatically you will just begin to accept that and let in the well-being that is offered to you constantly. But just the same, we never stop offering those words in an effort to help you come closer and closer to your personal understanding that you are in the right place at the right time, that you could not have done something that could render you unworthy or incapable of receiving that which you are asking for, that you are pure positive energy beings in these physical bodies, and that any time you decide that you can line up with that energy of well-being, and well-being will be your experience. If you are living less than well-being, it's only because you are holding yourself vibrationally apart from it. And the only way that you could be holding yourself vibrationally apart from well-being is by focusing upon something that you consider not to be well-being and holding your attention upon it long enough that you establish a vibrational attitude or aptitude for that. In other words, when you look at sickness and you hold your attention there, you do not vibrationally align with wellness. They are very different vibrations. When you focus upon having more bills to pay than money to pay them with, when you give more attention to the money going out and the discomfort of more money going out than is coming in, without meaning to, you achieve vibrational alignment with the feeling or attitude of shortage. And you hold yourself in that position where more money always goes out than comes in. The balance can't change as long as that is the attitude that you have established. So sometimes, before you were really aware that you had the ability to think on your own, you may have been in an environment, maybe at home, maybe with a close friend, where you observed conditions of financial shortage, or you observed conditions of physical sickness, or you observed conditions of unhappy relationships, or you observed conditions of physical bodies not looking or feeling the way you might choose. And as you observed those conditions, because you were not then consciously thinking about being the deliberate creator of your own experience, and more importantly, because you were not yet remembering that if it feels good it is, and if it doesn't feel good it isn't, you observed the condition to which you were subjected. And you didn't do any deliberate contouring of your perspective or sifting of that which you might observe. Instead, you just observed what was, or you just observed what is. And because those that you were observing had already achieved the absence of the well-being, as you observed it, you, without knowing it, began to achieve vibrational alignment with the absence of something that you want. And then you became one of so many who lost all sense of control of your own experience because you observed something not wanted, began to create something not wanted, complained about having something not wanted, established further vibrational alignment with something not wanted, manifested further evidence of something not wanted, and felt absolute lack of control in your ability to change it. And then, usually, if you are like most humans, you set out to begin to try to control conditions and circumstances so that what you could observe would feel better when you observed it. And we are here today to remind you that that never works, it has never worked, it will never work. Give it up. Stop trying to control conditions to make conditions more palatable. Instead, decide that you want to feel good and do a better job of sifting to begin with. Feel the difference. Now let's go back to a community of 1,000 people again. And there you are, uniquely you, 999 others doing all kinds of things. Some of them you appreciate, some of them you don't. Some of them you approve of, some of them you don't. Some of the conditions that those others are living you would like to live, some of them you would not. So which do you think would be easier in your community of 1,000 people? To figure out what you like best and convince the other 999 on a myriad of subjects to do it your way? I like to put the silverware in the drawer in this way. I like to put the glasses in the cupboard in this way. I prefer these colors. I prefer this hairstyle. I prefer this color of skin. I prefer this body type. In other words, you would have a very difficult time getting that 1,000 people to conform to your idea of what you think is a perfect world. Would you agree? So which do you think would be easier if your only goal is to achieve a vibration within your being that would allow well-being to flow to you? There are two possibilities here in our community. You could observe the 1,000, take them as they are, recognize that some of it you like and some of it that you don't like, organize communities, get lots of people to agree with you, make laws and rules, legislate, get people to enforce, and set out to get that 1,000 people to be the way you need them to be in order to observe them and feel good. That's one option. Sounds like a lot of work to us, but it's up to you. The other option is you could look out into the community of 1,000 people and you could look at the myriad of lifestyles and attitudes that they present to you. And you could begin to selectively sift through what you see and focus predominantly on the things that please you when you see them. So as you look for positive aspects, as you look for things to appreciate, as you are looking for things to appreciate, oh wait, we were observing something not wanted. Now we have an option. We can completely retrain the hotel staff. We can start with management and teach them about the inappropriateness of loudness in the kitchen area. We can take all of the people and bring them in here and convince them how important it is to us that they be very quiet as they are doing their work. We can threaten the hotel that we will never come back here again. They will really miss us. Or we can look into our community of 1,000 people and we can focus upon the things that are a vibrational match to what we desire. And we can tell when we're doing that by the way it feels to us as we are doing it. And we can train ourselves into a consistent vibrational offering that will cause law of attraction to yield to us from this community of 1,000 people. The interactions, the experiences, the circumstances and events that are compatible with what feels good to us. You get a sense of what we are talking about? Controlling one other is a task too great to try to achieve. It will ruin your life and they won't like it either. But to discover the freedom that comes from recognizing your ability to focus, your ability to turn your attention to that which is pleasing to you, that is what the art of allowing is. And what does the art of allowing achieve for you? What is it that you are learning to allow? The art of allowing your vibrational alignment with the source that is you. The art of allowing the alignment with clarity, wellness, abundance, vitality, joy, The art of aligning with who you really are and then not stopping there. In other words, let's face it, you were aligned with who you are before you came forth into this body. So some of you have got to be asking the question, if I was aligned with source energy before I came forth into this body, why did I come forth into this body?